So the iPad mini is the smallest iPad in Apple's lineup, and it's been a fan favorite amongst several people. You might have noticed that the M4 has been making waves for being such a powerful iPad and a beautiful OLED display. In this episode, my aim is to find out if you have an iPad mini and you plan on buying yourself an M4 iPad, how much performance gains are you going to be getting in this comparison? Alright, so I killed the lights. I'm going to go ahead and flick the switch to put the lights back on. What this is going to do is through these USB-Cs, it's going to boot these babies back up. So give me a second. And there's the lights. So you'll see the Apple logos come on. So the iPad mini's Apple logo did appear first. Look how mini that Apple logo is via comparison to the iPad Pro 11. And you can see which one's going to boot up first. The iPad mini boots up first. So weird. But you've seen right there, even though it has an A15 mobile chip, it booted up first over the iPad Pro 11 M4. So I guess that's a win to the iPad mini. So we can't really directly compare the biometrics on these two, but what I can do is show you that the iPad mini does have Touch ID. Now, you have to actually set up multiple fingers. Like you'll have to put this one, which I didn't do. And I didn't do that on purpose because I want to show you that if you don't set up multiple fingers, then you'll have to come over here. So definitely if you get an iPad mini or any iPad with Touch ID, set up multiple fingers so no matter where you have this iPad, you can go ahead and easily unlock. However, the Touch ID, unless you just kind of like remember to always put your finger there, is a little slower because you might do that and then have to do that. But if you always remember to just have your finger placed on there, it'll become habit and you'll be fine. But generally speaking, it's not as efficient to me as Face ID because Face ID, you don't got to do nothing. You just kind of look at it and you just go in. Definitely more efficient there for a Face ID. So I would say speed-wise, not a major difference. It's just you got to do that. You got to make sure your finger's on there for the iPad mini. So I'm more of a fan of Face ID personally. I don't think it's way faster, but definitely a little bit more convenient. When it comes to their general day-to-day performance, if you kind of take a look at the iPad mini here, it definitely does very good. It's very smooth, even with its A15 Bionic, which is found in Apple's iPhone 13. And kind of no matter what you're doing here, it definitely does a really good job at this. So really decent. I don't think you're gonna have major issues. For what this product is, you're probably not gonna be pushing it too hard. Even now, the A15 is just fine on the iPad mini. It truly is. This is going to be running the iOS 17.5.1 software. We are looking forward to seeing what Apple has to announce in just 4 days at iOS 18 for iPadOS. But this has 3.78 gigabytes of RAM or 4 gigs. You'll see this is clocked in at 2.92 gigahertz. But the fact that that runs so smooth shows you that the iPads can actually do a really good job even with not having the highest specs. So the iPad Pro here though, with its ProMotion, definitely has a little bit of a smoother feel, which is noticeable if you compare them side by side. But generally speaking, scrolling through any iPad in the lineup is very buttery smooth. Over here, pretty similar as well when pulling that down. And let's take a look at the spec here. And this takes a while, and you'll see 7.28 gigs, so doubling the RAM, and then this is clocked in at 4.40 gigahertz. So the CPU clock is definitely almost twice as high, 17.5.1 on here, so same software. But we're going to see in a second here on the apps, does it really make a difference? We'll have to see. All right, guys, so I do have to close all the apps out, but I wanted to leave this section just to show you. Apple really needs to put a close all button. Well, some argue you don't need to close your apps. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to close the apps if I feel like it. And definitely I like to start fresh when I'm doing my speed tests. I just think they would benefit from a close all button. You can see everything is closed out. And let me know your thoughts on a close all button. Let's begin with calendar here. You could see not a big disparity there. There is a huge disparity in display though. I do have a screen protector on the mini. It does make it look slightly more washed out though. Let's go into clock. A little bit faster on the Pro alarms. I'm personally, if I'm going to be totally honest with you, this is just my subjective take. I'm not a major fan of the mini. Reason why is because, you see faster on the right, it's not that much more beneficial to me than like a Pro Max iPhone. But some people love it. Let's go into freeform, including my wife. That is my wife's iPad. She let me use it for this video. Let's go into App Store. She just thinks these are too huge. The 11 inches, the 10.9, she thinks they're massive. I don't think they're massive, but again, we have different size hands. Kind of going through the App Store though, you can see the mini just chugs along just fine. Let's go into games. And I don't know what it is about the iPads. iPads always feel, I think True Tone's on here on the left. Yep, I knew it. It looks kind of yellow. I don't know what it is about iPads. They just seem to always run good all the time. And unlike the iPhones, which sometimes get a little bit buggy, I feel like the iPads kind of stay basically flawless throughout the usage of them, like all the time. So very smooth, both of them very good here in the App Store. All right, so let's swipe up out of there and let's go into YouTube. See, first on the right, definitely. We'll go ahead and hit, let's hit this. I think this is trending. Let me see. We'll go to trending here, trending videos. You'll see not a major difference. Huge difference in the viewing experience though. OLED display and a much larger panel. Let's go into Starbucks. But when you're cozying up on the bed or on the couch and you're chilling, which one would you rather have? The smaller mini or the OLED iPad? I think both of these are pretty cozy. Let's go into Groupon. But I think if you want the most cozy, easy size, is probably the mini. Let's go into categories. Imagine maybe Apple will bring a OLED iPad mini. That would be amazing. You can see over here, that was faster. I can see when I'm chugging along through these apps that the 60 hertz is kind of noticeable. Let's go into Amazon. So we do have to give them the credit on the iPad there for Amazon. We'll go into eBay. We do have to give them the credit for the 120 hertz. Faster on the right. And let's head up out of there. We'll go into Subway Surf. And here's where the iPad Pro should massively pull ahead, and it does. So huge, huge advantage in the gaming. Not that you didn't already expect that, but here's the proof for you in video. Let's go into Dead Trigger 2. So if you love your iPad mini, but you want a massive upgrade in terms of the performance, I do think, let me get some dust off of here. I do think you will really, really like going to this 11-inch iPad. Pretty similar there in the actual launch. When actually in the game, I do prefer like holding the mini. It just feels so nice to hold. It's a really great little gamer right there. Very compact and portable. Although this one is not bad either, and it's pretty easy to get, hold on to it. It's really lightweight and stuff like that. Really nice size screen. This one will probably be better if you connect a controller though, because the mini is definitely a more portable size for doing stuff like gaming. Let's go ahead and head into PUBG Mobile now. 3, 2, go. I do expect the iPad Pro to pull way ahead in this one, and it's pulling way ahead so far. And should we get there? Both for checking for updates, and we're in. So the iPad much faster. I actually think the iPad Pro is so much faster that you'll probably end up getting more wins in games just because of the speed at which that thing can perform. It's probably going to outperform the other device. There'll probably be a slight lag, and then the person will end up losing in the game. So you probably have an advantage if you're using the iPad Pro M4. Let's go into Free Fire, and you'll see some people can say, well, that's just based on your internet. Well, that's true too, but combine good internet with great processor, fastest processor on the market, you're going to be ahead of most online players in terms of speed. So yeah, a little bit faster here for Free Fire. Not a super demanding app, but decent. Faster on the iPad Pro though. And these, I think I didn't lock the rotation. Hold on. Let me go ahead and relock this rotation. I had it locked earlier, but I took it off for the biometrics. Let's go into the tempo run. 3, 2, go. And we'll see that the tempo run is loading up first here by a huge margin on the right. So bang, we're in. See, I could literally leave the app before the iPad mini even gets there. There was a little bit of swipe delay. But yeah, I could leave the app before the iPad mini even gets there. Let's go into Jetpack. So in the casual apps, it seemed fine, but here in gaming, the iPad Pro M4 is really pulling ahead. Even on these casual games, look at that. We're already in there. We're still waiting on the mini. So iPad Pro pulling way ahead even on basic casual games. So what this will also show you is that this is kind of how the performance would be faster on the left due to optimization. And let's go into speed tests, faster on the right. This would show you what the base iPad would probably perform like. So, you know, like the 10th gen iPad that everybody's saying, you should get this iPad. You read those articles, or do you see those people saying online, it's usually a lot of publications, this is all the iPad you need. Don't tell me what I need. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need what I want to get. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't really take those too seriously when they say this is the only iPad you need. The need is subjective to what that person needs in their life and what they're doing with their life. You can see right there, a little bit faster on the right. So I think overall we have our winner here. The iPad Pro as expected, but by how much did it pull ahead? It pulled way ahead in the games, and the load times were snappier. So all across the board, if you have a mini and you jump over to the 11 M4 here, you're going to see a substantial improvement in smoothness, launch speeds, as well as in games. Really, seriously, you will definitely notice this if you trade in your mini and go to this. All right, so here we go on the RAM management. Now, I don't know what it is. I just don't like how the iPad mini has these apps kind of crunched together. You see how close they are together? Is there a way to like get that to not do that? Let me know down below in the comments. I think it's maybe make the screen size smaller. I'm not sure, but the iPad mini has always felt like kind of claustrophobic to me with the way those apps are kind of squinched in like that. And you'll see we're getting reloads already. 4 gigs of RAM is not enough. This reminds me of the iPhone 13. You can see it right there. Boom. Let's go into PUBG. Again, a reload. Boom. Where does this matter? Day-to-day, casual, one app at a time type of person, doesn't matter at all. It matters if you want to do Stage Manager, Split View. I don't even think you could do Stage Manager in here. Nope, you can't. You don't got the M series, so you can't even do Stage Manager, which is probably good because this probably wouldn't run it the best. Let's go over here to... Yeah, this just feels a little bit slow on the RAM management. So heavy users, you're not going to love this one. Casual, light use, you'll be fine. And some people are going to get comments. I'm a heavy user. I do my video editing. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying the iPad Pro will blow it away. It really will. You'll see here this next RAM management on the iPad Pro. Right, now watch this difference. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to make a song. Boom, boom. Now let's go. You can see, let me get up out of here. We'll go into Tempo Run 2. Free Fire. Just look at the speed. Look at the consistency. And I mean, it better be like this. The price Apple's charging for these. Did I just open that twice? I think I did. Let's go into Subway Surf, eBay, Amazon. And this is only the 8 gigs of RAM. Some people have been talking about online how it's actually a 12 gig of RAM, but they kind of like took away a couple of gigs of RAM, which would be kind of annoying if that's true. But you've seen just nearly flawless performance. And you've seen right there, that is a huge difference, especially when you consider you want to do some multitasking, you want to do some Stage Manager on here. That's where this extra RAM is definitely needed. And if we go into the future, as we go further into the future, that RAM will continue to separate these products going forward. So I do think it's time for iPad mini to get an update in terms of the performance, the display, give us an OLED display. It's time for a mini update, I think, hopefully later this year. All right, so here we are with the final results, and you could see multi-core score is way better on the iPad Pro M4, where things get serious. The base scores, though, while much better on the iPad Pro, not as big as a leap in the multi-core. So I think this benchmark tells us the story that we've seen in this video. In day-to-day casual apps, single core, the iPad mini is just fine. So one app at a time. Split view is okay as well on the iPad mini for certain tasks. Start pushing a little bit higher. The 9 cores on here, the 13,220, 239 multi-core score is really going to pull way ahead of this one. This is like a CPU processor or a PC. I said CPU, that's the same thing. This is like a PC processor versus a mobile processor right here. So a big jump here to the iPad M4 if you decide to make that leap. So let's go ahead and run a 3D Mark test now, and we'll see how they do in the Wildlife Extreme. So let me go ahead and hit start on both. This is about a 1-minute test. It really checks the graphics. You can see, look at this thing, just blazing right into the graphics already. And if you kind of take a look, it looks incredibly smooth. So this is the product I would want to future-proof myself for gaming, the iPad Pro M4 for sure. These are okay for now, but I think as more games get more seriously nice graphics, I would rather have this M4 right here. Wow. The score on the iPad 11 2024, a 51 frame per second. That's insane. Scoring better than 98% of devices. I've mentioned this in my prior app tests. My mind is still blown every time I do this test. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I never really see a product doing better than basically everything on planet Earth. That's just insane. Usually they're like 93, 94, we're cool. 98 though, that's crazy. You'll see right here, we do have 58% better than other devices. So the Mini, even though it's kind of got an old processor, it's still better than more than half of the market in performance. So it's solid. It's also more than half the price to get the iPad Mini. It's like half less money. So you get half less performance, half less price to pay. It makes sense. So I'm not mad at the Mini at 16.4 FPS, 2744. You could play some casual games. You'll probably get a little bit of stutter if you play heavier stuff, but probably not in most stuff because the games on iOS are not that super demanding, most of them. But overall, not bad. Just a much more impressive result on the iPad Pro M4. So let's get into a render now. For those who say I don't do any renders, well, here you go. We're going to go ahead and hit save video on both of these. So let's go ahead and hit save video. This will begin the export and we'll see which one can finish it first. Now, this is just a 1 minute clip, but if the iPad Pro is so much better as the benchmark state, this should finish a good amount faster. So far, it seems ahead of the iPad mini. But again, like I've mentioned, this iMovie app and Final Cut Pro, those applications are very well optimized for Apple products. So they kind of do renders really good, even on their slower CPUs. Like the iPad mini can probably render out a video faster than a lot of cheap laptops. Even maybe some decent mid-range price laptops on this iMovie app anyway. It's pretty darn impressive. You'll see done on the iPad Pro. That was substantial, I would say. Look, we're still waiting and still waiting. Now, as I put a 5 minute, a 10 minute, a 15, 20 minute video, this iPad mini would be behind probably by 2, 3, 4 minutes. So the iPad Pro is definitely a product you can take out into the field, shoot a video outside on your iPhone, airdrop it, and just go in the coffee shop and just, edit this thing out, bang it out real quick, and it'll be out and ready to go. So the iPad Pro definitely is a thumbs up in the renders. So let's wrap it up. I think I have my results here from the iPad mini. If you have an iPad mini, great. It's a casual iPad. It really just is. Yeah, you can push it if you want to demand a little bit more from it. There's even videos of people who tried to make this their main day-to-day product, even over, their iPhone. And it's doable. It's an iPhone 13, basically, the CPU. The iPad Pro, though, pushes it to the next level. This thing is next level performance. This is like nothing's touching this. Like even laptops are not touching this. Like most laptops on the market are not faster than this iPad Pro. Thing is it's held back in terms of certain users. It will be held back. Programmers, for example, there's a lot of use cases where this is held back by iPad OS. But from a sheer standpoint of should you upgrade from the mini to this, if you want the performance, the OLED, and you're ready to drop some cash, I would say yes. You can also trade in that iPad mini to reduce the price of the iPad Pro. So that's it for me. iPad mini versus iPad Pro. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know, are you picking up either one of these? Are you waiting for a new iPad mini? Or if you want to see any other iPad comparisons, as you seem to have been enjoying these so far. So I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.